It's not, you know, it's just so beautiful. It's the Chopin prelude, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sitting with Barry Manilow. Now, I have to tell you, when you hear this song at the tempo it was recorded when Donna Summer did it, it's completely different. This is like, it really is a piece of classical music.
Yeah. Well, you know, good piece of music, you can do it any old way you want and still holds up. I believe it.
That's what my ex-husband used to say about me.
What?
Good piece of...
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Sorry. But it's a wonderful thing. Do you think that people will be listening and playing the music as classical pieces?
I would hope that all this, you know, when I got into the music industry, my one goal was to make music that will outlive me. It was a lofty goal, huh? It was a lofty goal. Who knew if I would ever have it? But I always tried to create or be involved with music that would not just be trendy. And so I kind of stuck with that. Right.
Deja vu. Yeah, we'll be right back with Barry Manilow.
That was a good song, too, that I did with Dion.
Yes.
I like this job.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. You could come and play.
Yeah, I seem to be doing well tonight, too.
Yes.
It's better than I actually made when I was playing these, playing in bars. I used to play in a lot of cocktail lounges. I was pretty good at it, too. I had an act with a girl, and we used to do just like we're sitting here. For the drunks.
What would you do?
For the drunks, we used to do what they wanted to do, what they wanted us to do. You know, I have such respect for these people who do this all night long, you know, in lounges. I did it for a couple of years with a girl singer. She's a good girl singer, too. And, you know, the hours are horrible. You know, you start at 8 o'clock and you wind up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's 45-minute sets on and 10 minutes off, and you do it all night long. They're still doing it in Vegas. They're still doing it in the Holiday Inns around the country. You know, yeah, I have a lot of respect for them.
Do you miss it?
No. You have this plastered smile on your face for like 8 hours a night. It's just, and you don't mean it. You really don't mean it.
So now you come in and you start, and most of the time people are pretty straight by the time you get there.
Well, they were always drunk. But at 8 o'clock, you know, it was a little easier, to play for them at 8 o'clock than, you know, at 1 o'clock in the morning. Forget it. It was hard. It was hard.
When you look back at the road you've taken, did you ever expect to become Barry Manilow?
No. I always knew, Whoopi, I bet you did too, I always knew that I was going to be successful. I never doubted that I would be able to make a living in music, because I always felt secure in the music area. I just knew that I was going to be okay. At the very least, I'd always be able to make a living playing the piano someplace. And I even knew that I was going to be even more successful than just a piano player. But it never even dawned on me the kind of success that's happened in the area that it happened in, too. Because, you know, I was just going to be a musician, which is a great gig, you know, or a producer or an arranger or a conductor or something. But singing was just never in the cards, man, no. And even to this very day, I still have trouble listening to my own records and my own voice. And even you know, when I put it, sometimes when we go out of town, you know, or out of the country, and they ask you what your profession is, I always put down musician. It's not entertainer or singer or any of that. You know, I think of myself as a musician, and that's it. That's where I feel the most comfortable. I love being with my bands, with the people in the studio, on the road, but on the stage, in front of an audience, boy, that's a gig for me.
Yeah, it does have its moments. Now, but what brought you into the forefront? I mean, because you at one time played behind Bet. Is that the right lingo? Played behind? See, I don't know.
Yeah, I was her music director for about 2-3 years.
Right.
Maybe a little longer than that, and I helped produce her first 2 albums. And that's where I was having a ball. That was the greatest thing that could have happened to me, conducting at Carnegie Hall for this kind of singer. that was like the most powerful performer I had ever even imagined being with. And conducting for her at Carnegie Hall, wow, that was the peak. I just wanted more of that.
Yeah.
But you know, that wasn't where it was meant to stop.
But then what brought you into the forefront?
Well, it was a kind of an interesting a turn of events. I just really wanted to get my own songs out there,
right.
and it didn't seem that anybody wanted to sing them. So I sang my own demos. I started to make my own demos. And before I knew it, I had a record company that was interested not only in my songs and in the songwriting, but in my singing of the songs, which was just the most perplexing thing. I mean, I kept saying, why? What, I mean, I don't really do this, you know.
Why
but they just kept asking me to. I mean, you know, most people would kill for that kind of opportunity. Yeah. And I was resisting it because I didn't want to go on the road and become a performer. It wasn't my thing.
Well, what was the first one that you recorded?
Well, the first song I recorded was Could It Be Magic, you know? Which I ripped off a Chopin prelude here. But you know how to write those chord changes. I really didn't enjoy my own performance of it, but I sure did love making the record, you know. And it just kept snowballing from there. The record company would say, yeah, let's do another one. And finally, the idea of getting my songs out there really was so appealing to me, and the only way I could get it out there, it seemed, was if I sang them. So I committed to making an album and going on the road and pretending that I was a performer. And it just kept snowballing, and the audiences seemed to react not only to the music and to the show and to the lights and to the production, but to me.
Right.
But to me as a show person, which was so perplexing for the first 5 years, and then it became terrifying because it wouldn't go away.
Now, but you keep saying it's perplexing. Is it your voice that perplexes you, or the fact that people like it, or...
I guess it's the acceptance of doing something that I really have never considered very special. I guess it's that kind of acceptance, people really connecting with a part of what I do that I don't connect with.
Ah.
You know, the singing part, the performing part, the acting part. It just, you know, I've never really... And maybe the reason that they're connecting with it is because I really don't know what I'm doing. And maybe they're connected, or that I didn't. I think I got better at it. But at that point, I really was so awkward and unsure of myself on the stage that maybe they were connecting with the fact that there was some honest thing there, you know. And the music was pretty solid. I always believed that the music was solid.
Yeah. Now, what about Mandy?
Well, Mandy, that was the next level. For the first year, I kind of bumbled around in these little nightclubs, like the Bottom Line in New York and the Roxy over here, you know. And there was kind of a rumble going on that there was somebody that was making interesting music down there, because the shows were decent. And then out of the blue, the record company that I was with changed hands, and I found myself at a record company called Arista Records, and the head of the record company was a man named Clive Davis. You know
Yes,
Clive.
I know Clive Davis.
A legend, a living legend. I mean, you know, I'm very grateful for his input. And he saw what these audiences were seeing also, that there was something about this guy on stage performing that could be very successful. I never saw it. I didn't see it, but he saw it. And he said to me backstage the first time I met him, if you have a hit record, then your career is made. And I said, well, don't worry. I'll make myself a hit record, and I'll write myself a hit song. But he had other plans in mind, because he is really incredibly good at choosing commercial songs.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
I sometimes write, you know, a good one and sometimes write a commercial one. But Clive is like on the money just about every single time. He sent me this demo record called Brandy. And it went like this. It went, oh, Brandy, well, you came and you gave. It was this up-tempo version of what we know now as Mandy. And so I went and I recorded, oh, Brandy, and he came into the studio that night and he said, what's that? And I said, that's the thing that you sent me. He said, I hate that. But in the afternoon, I had played it just to learn it. Right. I played it like a ballad. I played it just to learn it. I was looking at the sheet music. I said, well, gee, this is kind of a nice lyric. Oh, I remember all my life. And I just played it real slow. And I took him into the studio, and I said, if you hate the up-tempo version of it, why don't you just listen to this version of it? And he sat there like you're sitting, and he close his eyes, and I sang, oh, Brandy, well, you came and you gave. And he said, oh, that's much better. He said, let's record it like that.
Well, will you play me into the commercial? We'll be right back with the fabulous Barry Manilow.
So I make a pretty good cocktail lounge pianist, don't I?
Guests of the show fly our official carrier, American Airlines. Together with American Eagle, American flies to over 300 destinations in 45 countries worldwide. American Airlines, something special in the air.
A lot more work than I do. Because when you're home, you know, you're in the living room. I spend a lot of time in the living room, you know, just
fantasizing.
Yeah, because I want to be a backup singer.
Really, me too. You know, I do this whole thing in the show just about backup singing.
Really?
Yeah, we're going on tour now, and there's a whole little thing where I pretend I'm one of the backup singers.
See?
I loved it.
Because they got all the hot moves, you know. And
I got them going. Look at this.
Yes, see? And they got the, you know, they got the stuff that shimmy. I always wanted to be able to move my stuff, you know, because, you know, the person, stop that. The up front singer would be out there, but, you know, the girls would be, have all the giving face and fingers would be moving and hair.
Really?
You
Trying
know,
to upstage that.
Trying to upstage the person.
Right.
You
can be yours for only
probably one of the largest groupings of fans
That's what I'm told, yeah.
in the world. Is this surprising? Is it surprising?
My whole career is a surprise, yeah. But yeah, it is. It's great. And I've met a lot of them, too, which is even greater. Because they're great people.
Right.
You know, I don't know, I'm sure you've met your fans. I hate the word because it just dehumanizes them.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've met the people who admire what you do. I've met a lot of the people that are my fans. And they're great. They're people. They're real people.
Yeah.
And I love having conversations with them. And that's not only about me, you know. We have something in common. I don't know what that is, but it's like a connection, and there's a lot of them. I mean, there's just a lot of people out there who seem to have connected with what I'm doing over the years, and I've met a lot of them, and I'm real grateful for them, and I think they're great.
When you think about, you've taken a lot of hits. I've taken a lot of hits from people, too, about the style that we do things in or the people that like us. You've maintained a real sense of humor about it. How do you do that? I'd like to know, please.
Well, you know, how else are you going to... I learned it from Bet. You know, you just can't take things seriously. You can't take that kind of thing seriously. I mean, first, in the beginning, it did... You know, I began to wince because I was so serious about what I was doing. I couldn't believe anybody wouldn't, like, understand that, you know. But, you can't really... Anybody who's in the public eye, anybody... And the more popular you get, the more they try to...
Yeah.
The more they try to knock you down, so, you know... I have, anybody ever tell you about these, they sometimes do cartoons with with me in them. I think that's so cool. When I find my name in a cartoon, I think that is so cool. I mean, except for the real mean-spirited ones, and that's not very often.
Yeah.
But I just think that is so flattering, you know, so flattering that I actually find these guys that do the cartoons and ask them to send it to me.
Oh, really?
And I have them, like, sign.
Have you made Mad Magazine yet?
I haven't heard about it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh.
Have you made Mad Magazine?
Yeah.
Now, isn't that the coolest
Yes,
thing?
it is. Yes, it is.
Popeye stood up for me on one of them. In a cartoon, I have the cartoon that Popeye punches out Bluto for putting me down. I think it's the coolest thing.